Hope everybody's doing well. We met as a team this morning and decided that we were going to postpone practice today, really for two reasons. Number one is just in response to the continued racial injustice that we unfortunately continue to see in our country, the latest shooting of Jacob Blake. And really, we just decided that we're going to use today as a team to have some more team meetings and position meetings, and also meet with the leadership group, the Bull Council, and really just kind of let everybody have an opportunity to express themselves and how they feel, and for a lot of us to listen and to learn, and then also to turn that into kind of finding out how we can use our platform to try to make some positive change to such a sad situation. The second reason that we decided not to practice today is we were still awaiting the results from our latest COVID test. We decided this week to test on Wednesday instead of Monday, just knowing that this past weekend was the first weekend that students were back on campus, and I think this was probably the most highly anticipated test that we've had, just knowing, looking across the country at some of the test results whenever the students came back on campus. And I'm very happy to inform everybody, we found out at 11 o'clock, we got great news that for the third week in a row we had 0 positives again. And so just really, really happy about that. And really want to compliment our players and coaches, and especially our training staff, because it is an extra level of responsibility and discipline to follow in such a difficult time. And you can just see everything that's going on in different places. And I think our young men and our support staff, training staff, are really handling it about as good as anybody out there in the country. And also having USF Health in our backyard has been a huge advantage for us. But this is not just something that ends today. It's every single day, and it's going to continue all year long. So we must continue to stay vigilant, be careful each and every day. And as always, our number one priority is keeping our young men and staff and everybody around safe. On a roster update, unfortunately, linebacker Tavion Gray is no longer with the team due to a violation of team rules, and we wish him the best in the future. And then the exciting news of the day came out a little while ago with the announcement of our 3-game series with Notre Dame, with the first game being September 19th, playing up at South Bend. And I see him in the back here. Special shout out to our Director of Athletics, Michael Kelly, for his work in securing this 3-game series. And I know without a doubt that his relationship with Notre Dame's Director of Athletics, Jack Swarbrick, played a huge role in this. And you can see who they've played in the past non-conference schedules. It's a very, very small, short list. And I think this is just another example, 1001, while we're so fortunate to have Michael as our leader of our athletics program. This is going to be a great opportunity for our university, for our program, and for our student athletes to get great exposure and play on one of the biggest stages in all of college football. I know for myself personally, just from a personal perspective, playing Notre Dame in South Bend has been on my bucket list since I was about 12 years old. I can remember when my father was coaching at Florida State, and FSU went and played at Notre Dame in 1993 in a big matchup. And I remember vividly sitting in my living room. I didn't get to go to the game, and it's probably on NBC, and watching that game and just seeing the atmosphere and everything involved with that. And Notre Dame ended up winning that game, but later on, I think the next week, Boston College beat Notre Dame, so Florida State got to go play and won the national championship that year. But really, from that time, kind of watching that game, I've always been intrigued with playing or coaching up there in South Bend. And a few years ago at Clemson, they announced a 2-game series where Notre Dame was going to come to Clemson in 2015. And then Clemson was going to return to South Bend in 2020. And when that was announced, all of us at Clemson were very excited, and I was most excited about that 2020 trip. So it literally was within the first 24 hours that I had accepted the job here in December that it kind of hit me that, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to go with Clemson. I don't think they're going to let me just take a week off to go up there with Clemson. And so now I really thought, well, hopefully I have a few years left in my coaching career. I could make up for that later on down the road. And I really thought it'd be years from now. I didn't know it'd be this season, in the inaugural season. So, you know, really excited about that. I know our players are excited. Obviously, you know, with the Texas game being the opener, our young men have been very excited about that for a long time. And then when it became evident that that game was not going to happen, you know, Michael and his staff went to work immediately trying to find another premier opponent for us to play this year, and we couldn't be more happy about that. But you know, first we have kind of get our mind right and get focused for a big challenge with the Citadel on September 12th. That'll be our opener, and have a lot of respect for them. Obviously, I'm from South Carolina. My dad's first college job was actually as a graduate assistant at the Citadel, so I would guess that my first college game that I ever attended as a young baby, probably 2 years old, would have been at the Citadel when my dad was a GA up there in the early 80s. But you know, they run the option very, very well. That's something that takes a lot of work defensively to prepare for, and when some of the opponents were being talked about, you know, we just really decided that it would be really good work for our team to prepare. Obviously, Navy runs the option in our conference, and for us to have a chance to win our conference in the future, we're going to have to find a way to stop the option. And so, you know, I think this is a really good opener for us. We're excited about it. I think we're, you know, about 16 days away, so that's really where our focus will be here over the next 2 weeks moving forward. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Jeff, I know there's probably some things you guys like to keep in-house, but could you share with us just how the conversation with the team went today?
Yeah, you know, I think that conversation is ongoing. We had a short meeting today, team meeting at 7 a.m. like we normally do. That was followed up by a meeting I had with some of the leadership of our team, and those meetings will continue this evening after they get done with their classes. So, now I think that the biggest thing that's important in this is for, you know, and these are real life situations that are going on, and I think as a coach, you always take pride in being able to fix things for your players. You know, just like a coach or a dad, you want to fix whatever the problem is. And this is one of those situations that as a coach, you can't fix it for your players. And so, you know, part of it is just for your guys to know that you love them, that you're there to support them, and that you stand with them. And that's really, you know, what these conversations are about. And then, you know, what can we do going forward, you know, as a team to try to have a positive impact with such a disappointing and sad situation.
Coach, when did you get your first test and having your team not look ahead to the second opponent with the exciting news from Notre Dame? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, we shared some of the news with them early on to go ahead and try to, it was one of the few times that we were able to maybe beat social media and get it to them. We kind of made a last second decision. Actually, Charlie Weiss started getting some text messages from some of his connections up there at Notre Dame, and I talked to Michael and I said, all right, it's starting to leak out. And I told the guys last week in the locker room before we went out. But, you know, I think our guys are just so excited with all the off season and, you know, can you play? Are we not going to be able to play? All these type of things. I think our guys are just excited to play again. And, yes, that'll be a special moment, you know, week 2. But our guys are looking forward to playing and having a chance to open up the season, you know, in Raymond James, I think is really good. And then again, it goes back to what we talk about within our program. then, you know, it doesn't matter who you play, it's how you play. And so this is going to be a good test for that, right? Our preparation for the Citadel better be exactly the same as our preparation would be for Notre Dame. And if it's not, then, you know, we have a long way to go to become a consistent winner as a program.
Citadel puts a lot of opponents in the grinder. I know they were right in it with Alabama a couple years back or last year. You know, how do you keep your team from getting put in that grinder and getting put in a late game situation where you're maybe tied at halftime?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. I know they went into Atlanta and beat Georgia Tech. That was kind of an interesting video to start watching. You're watching the Citadel running the option versus Georgia Tech having success, and you're watching Georgia Tech run a more spread offense versus the Citadel. So kind of hard watching that a little bit. But yeah, they went in and beat Georgia Tech last year in overtime. And I think they had Alabama the year before. Alabama was up 10-0 at halftime, but very much a football game. And then I know the Citadel beat South Carolina a few years back whenever I was up at Clemson. So I got a lot of respect for them as a team. I think our players will too. As they start to watch this video, we're going to kind of finish up today and tomorrow, really worried about ourselves. And then when we come back in here on Saturday, that's kind of when we'll flip the script and we'll have 2 full weeks to get ready. But it won't take them long when they start watching that video to know that these guys know exactly what they're doing. They're going to be very disciplined. They're going to play with great effort, and they're not going to beat themselves. And it turns into a disciplined, type of game. And I know it'll be a great challenge right off the bat for Coach Spencer. But it's good. I mean, you don't get into this game or get into coaching or playing if you're worried about what people are doing or opponents. I mean, you just got to go play and be aggressive. And for us, that's exactly what we'll do.
Coach, you got a pretty good camp for you, and someone who you expect to have a pretty big impact on your offense, Darian Felix. Just talk about him and the kind of impact you expect him to have early on for you.
Yeah, Darian's been a great addition for us. And again, I remember Darian when we recruited him to Clemson and knew he was a talented player out of the Fort Myers area. And then I kept up with him a little bit while he was off at Oregon, and then he contacted us, not long after I got the job here. And I was fired up about it. At that time, we weren't sure if he was going to be able to get a waiver to be eligible this year. And now, that has happened. And, I mean, he's just plugged in. And really, it looks like he's been here for a while. He has good chemistry with our players, with our team. And he's done an outstanding job through fall camp. He's a natural runner. He has really good vision to what he's doing. And I'm really excited to get an opportunity to watch him play this fall.
Not to assume anything, Jeff, so you will not play a game September 5th. Your opener will be the Citadel?
In 2020, that's yeah. I feel confident that our schedule is finalized as far as not adding any new opponents as far as today. But as we've learned, I never would have thought 6 months ago that we would be scheduling games 4 weeks before the game either. But yes, to answer your question, we plan to for our opening game to be September 12th versus the Citadel.
I asked both coordinators this, and figured I might ask you. Has it helped the transition at all to have both coordinators coming from the same school as well as Coach Neighbors from FAU?
Yeah, that's definitely helped. That wasn't a deciding factor. Whenever I was hiring them, I really wanted to hire the best defensive coordinator and the best offensive coordinator. It just so happened to be that they were, at the same school last year. But there's no doubt, really, whenever you're talking as a head coach, you kind of set the plan for the practice, like this is what I want it to look like. And then the coordinators have to get together to figure out exactly how they're going to install against each other, right? Like you don't want to be installing goal line offense if the defense doesn't have their goal line defense. So that relationship and trust that they have from working together last year, just rolled straight over here and made it super easy for us. And then, just like you said, with Wes Neighbors also coming from FAU, he had worked with Glenn in the past, and then Brett Stockstill, who's one of our offensive analysts, worked with Charlie last year at FAU. So there's no doubt that them working together just like myself and Xavier Dye, who's coaching our wide receivers. You know, we've been on the field a lot together through the years, and so even though we do have a new staff here, there are several of us that have worked with each other in the past.
Coach, you have another Fort Myers running back in Isaias Young. What have you seen from him? I know he's a freshman. Is there really a plan for him this season, or is it going to be kind of a sit and let him learn kind of approach for him?
Yeah, I mean, for all of our guys, we're giving them an opportunity to get reps. That's probably one of the best things that we did through the first 2 weeks of fall camp is, you know, we repped a lot of guys. I mean, that was really important to me. I made sure all the coaches, you know, we want to rep everybody that's here that can practice. I want to be sure that they're getting reps and they're having a chance to get better. Number one, for themselves individually, so I mean, you can't improve as a player if you're not getting reps and practicing. And then number two, for us as a team. I mean, we're going into a season with COVID that, you know, each and every week, you know, you could lose multiple players at multiple positions. And so more than ever in college football, you need to have your entire roster ready to go, ready to play. So he's definitely, because he just got here, he's definitely, you know, at the back of the line. But he's done some really good things in the opportunities that he's gotten. And that's been one of the biggest messages. Hey, it's not about how many reps you get. It's about making the most of the reps when you get them. And be ready when your number's called. And so far, when his number's been called, he's been ready and he's done a really nice job for us.
Jeff, now that you have an opponent on the 12th, does that kind of provide peace of mind or weight off your back, however you want to put it? Because now these next 2 weeks, you have something specific to focus on.
Yeah, I think there's a balance. Yes, you do feel good that you have an opponent and you're getting closer, but you also, as a coach, in the situation we're in now, you know there's no guarantees. Even though it's 2 weeks, it feels like it's a month, and there's a lot. I mean, that's why today, you know, this getting these COVID test results back today, this was really big. To me, this was the biggest test, knowing that our young men have been here now for several weeks, and then with students coming back and all these type of things, you know, this was going to be a good kind of litmus test, in my opinion, for us and our opportunity and chances moving forward. And so I am more confident than I've been in the past. But, you know, I tell our guys every day, when we start meetings or go out to practice, like, there's no guarantee that we're going to be out here tomorrow. There's a lot of college players in other conferences that wish that they had an opportunity to continue to play this fall. So we got to take every day, you know, and make the most of it. But to answer your question, yes, knowing who our opponent is, and now all of a sudden transitioning, watching video of an opponent, game planning, that's kind of the next stage for our staff and our players, and something everybody's looking forward to.
Anything else, Coach?